If I had one wish, it'd be to bring my. If I knew magic tricks, when I get on the one, switch murder for hire, get on wet. You know it's that before the sun of made up, can't go.
Imagine if Akame got killed, decided to hit up Gurren Lagann on Snapchat, said slide to the crib, and they had a baby. 86 would be their baby. I mean, I know mecha anime is hated on by almost everybody on this planet besides Gurren Lagann, Code Geass, and Neon Evangelion, however you pronounce it, but 86 is gonna work its way up into that GOAT debate, and I'm gonna show you why. Before I tell y'all focus up when we lock in, make sure to hype the video, make sure to join my Discord, but now it's time to focus up. So we see a random mech moving like it's a spider, and we have someone in our ear saying,
"You're not gonna make it out of this one, buddy. I mean, you're basically cooked. You might as well just shut off your machine right now and let those robots over there take you out of the game."
That same mech starts cooking through each and every single one of the mechs, and the guy talking through the intercom or wherever he's talking from is like,
"Yo, slow down. You're not supposed to be cooking these dudes. You're supposed to be a random scrub. You're supposed to be off the map as we speak."
And this really got me thinking, was this foreshadowing to something? I'm not gonna say it now because I don't want to spoil if you haven't seen the show, but if you've seen the show, you know what I'm talking about, and if you don't, you gotta rewatch. Or just finish watching the video, you know what I'm saying? But then we cut to A's death from Akame got killed. I guess she decided she wanted one more shot, revived like she was Phoenix from Valorant, and she decided she's gonna win this time around. She does not have return by death. She is not the GOAT Subaru Natsuki. And no, back off Furtis and Nance on X. You cannot have her. She is all mine. Her name is Lena Milize. And we see her walking around the world of Wally if everybody decided to do a hit workout daily and dye their hair silver, or whatever color this is, like a light blue or something. Everybody looks the exact same. We find out that she's the major of some army, and this is her best friend right here. Her name is Annette, and Annette asks her, "Yo, I gotta be honest. You heard those people talking trash about the drones, so you went in to say something. Why do you care about the drones so much?" She looks at her, she's like, "Yo, you know they're not drones." She's like, "All right then, why do you care about the 86? We gonna touch on that later. I can't say it all now." But she gets a call to action, and she heads to her battle station. Her battle station might as well be a VR headset because she is not carrying a gun. She is not on the front lines. Her life is not on the line. She's a spectator in a Fortnite PS5 party while you're in the last circle trying to clutch, and he's saying, "GG bro, GG bro, it's over. You're gonna lose." That's basically what her entire job is. But then she meets with a man named General Carlstall. This is her uncle. Is she a nepo baby like Ichigo? I don't know. But he's like, "Yeah, basically you're out of your old squadron. You're with a new one." Oh yeah, also people in this squadron, they literally start to go insane. Some of them even end up, you know, pulling the plug on their life support. But he's like, "You got that right. I know my niece could handle that. You go get on, Tiger." Me personally, I'm not putting anybody in my family in this situation. That would actually be insane. But for her last battle with her old squadron, she loses a processor. And this really had me thinking that the people fighting for them were like robots with super smart brains, high intelligence, whatever. But then we cut to a different crew. They're all chilling, making life look like it's happy, like they're not in the slums, the worst district you could possibly be in the Republic. They're in the 86th district. Like the anime's called 86 and they're in the 86th district. They're also called the 86. That's tough, man. But when the bowl of food drops and the cat jumps up, boom, it's gunshots going off just like that. I don't know why they use transitions like this. It reminds me of the elusive samurai when that dude's head just hit the floor. And there's just explosions going off left and right. It really is a battlefield out here. It's Battlefield 6 Fire. I might tap in. But then we see one of these mechs and it has holes in it and blood leaking from it. We hear a dude saying it hurts, and we already knew he was cooked from there on. After the battle dies down, we see this guy walk over to the mech. The dude in there is literally on his last legs. He has like probably 2 more sentences in him. He tells him, "Promise me you won't forget me." And he pulls out a gun and pops him in the face. He didn't even give him security crossing into the afterlife. He just pops him. He didn't say goodbye, brother, goodbye, friend. Straight pop to the head. I'm not gonna lie, if I'm on my deathbed and my bro does me like this, bro, I'm coming back as a spirit to haunt him. But then finally we see Lena call the Spearhead Squadron her new squadron, and we find out that this dude's name is Shin. He's the Undertaker. So the 86 start off their next day with a visit from this dude, and I forgot his name, so we're just gonna call him Torbjorn. However you say the dude's name from Overwatch that everybody hates to go against because of those stupid turrets, and I'm just calling him that because he's a mechanic. We found out that the guy that died last episode was named Kujo, video, and when Shin was knocking off a piece of his juggernaut, he carves the name of his fallen comrade into it and keeps it with him along the way. We see his big treasure chest of names, and dang, I mean, we know who bro's ops are because we can clearly see him, but it just makes me think of that one TikTok where the dude was like, long live T, long live K, long live A. He was listening to the alphabet forwards, backwards, mismatched, shifted like it's cybersecurity. He was moving different. New name in the IG bio every 30 seconds. But we see the Spearhead Squadron playing basketball or volleyball because they can't be playing basketball missing all of these shots. And Shin sitting in the bag reading. This is only something you'd see at Miller Grove. What a loser. He's trying to be something in life, bro. But then we hear static sounding like the phone dude from FNAF. And they get a call from Theo. Theo is the blonde-haired one. He tells them,
there's rain. We have no radar for this. We're going in blind. But yeah, we're about to fight, so pack your stuff up and get ready.
The attack isn't even gonna be there for another 2 hours, but Shin says we'll intercept that junk early. Let's ambush them. But as the robots are walking down the hill, they're like, oh, it's a bunch of grunts. We got that. They brought some robots one level above the grunts. We got that too. But then they pull out a tank from Tanky. Peak game, by the way. I know I say elite ball knowledge like every video, but this is actually elite. Like, this is elite. If you know what Tanky is, you're goated. That's all I have to say. But yeah, the Spearhead Squadron had to jump on them, start firing down at them. The other robots don't even know what's going on. They start full autoing at the wall, shooting in every single direction because they don't know who to shoot at. But then they start firing airstrikes like Farrah, so they had to get out of the spot. And they're all giving each other comms. They got each other's back. This is a beautiful scene. Even the music playing is beautiful, but I don't know if it's copyrighted, so I can't show you. But their Tom Brady level run comes to an end when they hear some more static, and he tells them, retreat. We gotta get out of here. Bombs start raining down from above, and Lena's telling them,
yo, I got their location. Here you go.
Shin's like, thank you, thank you. He relays the information to everybody, but he's like, yeah, we don't need you. I'm gonna be so honest. You send that stuff, it leaks our location. We could die right now all because of you. But Shin then tells them, yo, you focus on the grunts. Let me cook up real quick. Leave it all to me. So Shin starts running in, sliding like he's at a roller rink. He locks onto the tank in front of him that shoots a missile, and he weaves the junk in slow motion. I didn't know mechs that weren't shaped like the Power Rangers, that weren't shaped like Voltron, could move like this. He then dodges more artillery fire, and this big tank, thinking he has Simone behind the wheel, who's gonna tell him he has a blind father of 15, jumps into the sky. The tank comes down for the ground smash, but guess who's behind him? The camera pans to Shin in his mech standing right behind him. He jumps, landing on the mech, barrel stuff to make sure he can't miss the shot, and the mech got zeroed. Hey, let me know if y'all ever want to see a Cyberpunk vid. Shin runs up drifting and swerving like he's at the Indy 500, then he decides to equip a blade. Nah, don't use any bullets against the tank, Shin, bro. That'd be so dumb. I mean, just run at them with the blade when they're shooting at you with the force that could take away a small country. But he runs through and slices the leg off of each and every single mech.
GPS saying I missed my turn.
Full 180 to blast the tank to smithereens, then dodge the next artillery shot. ODM gear to go into hiding, and from the top of the bridge, he jumps down like an Assassin's Creed assassination with another barrel stuff. And how is his juggernaut not taking damage from all these close-up explosions? He shouldn't be alive himself, if I'm being honest. And he gives the last tank the Gojo off-screen treatment. We find the history of these purple robots attacking, because I'm not gonna lie, if you haven't seen 86 and you're watching this video, you were probably confused. This old dude says that the neighboring country of Giad created these robots named the Legion to wage war in San Mongolia, which is the republic where all these blue hair people live, silver hair people live, whatever. But the Legion low-key got out of control and it ended up wiping out Giad. But they only have a 50,000 hour lifespan, so they just have 2 more years and the robots will be all gone. Isn't that great? And the old dude's saying, yeah, these juggernauts are crazy though. We have 0 casualties every single battle. Lena tells everybody that is not the truth. There is a human in every juggernaut. Then we also find out the lore about the 86. They're not viewed as human in the Republic, San Mongolia, because their hair is different. Their eyes are different. Their skin is different. I was gonna reference that one video. I should have made this video during when like clankers were trending, but like I just watched 86 like last week. But yeah, that's the history of the 86. Then they tried to hit a complete curveball with this episode, giving us what is considered a beach scene, I guess, because there's no way you're going to a beach in the 86th district, but the water still is looking beautiful. Even got a little peeping scene, trying to make you think that what happened to Kujo would not happen again. That's not the norm for this anime. It's just a beautiful fighting anime with the death here and there. And here they go with the transitions again. We go from Karena laughing to slamming the table and walking out the room. Daya follows after her. He's like, yo, calm down. Get that stick out your butt. But she's basically mad because Lena's calling them every night. None of their handlers have moved like this before. They treated them just like processors. Lena's treating them like the full PC. That was so corny. But like, I wanted to say processors because like CPU, GPU, junk like that. but Lena's just talking to them, quizzing all of them, asking them about their experience being in the 86th district. But that's when Kaye takes over the mic. She's talking about nights here are beautiful. We can see all the stars. But Lena says, do you hate us? And she's like, duh. Why wouldn't we hate you? But she also goes on to tell her about her experience with the 86, saying, yo, they're bad people too. If you're a bad person, you're a bad person. Doesn't matter if you're an Alba, doesn't matter if you're an 86. But then she's like, why exactly do you care about us so much? Lena says, oh, easy. When my father took me to the battlefield like a dummy and ended up dying, it was a processor who saved me from the Legion. Then Kaye says, alright, so you get no play. But she was really just trying to say she was pure-hearted for real, untouched. But then she closes the sentence with, you should really quit this job. I mean, this junk isn't for you. You're too nice. You're too soft-hearted. We need Mr. Crocker to come be our handler. We need someone locked in. Someone who hates for the love of the game. But earlier in the day, Lena and Nanette were searching for maps in some sort of archive room so they could help out the 86. So the next battle starts, but it's light because Lena has the map. She tells them to change their positioning so they can counter the Legion. Everything's looking like it's going smooth. The enemies are all being knocked off the map by Undertaker. He's moving crazy even though we can't see what's going on. But that's when Lena sees a lone Louve on the screen. The Louves are the tanks that they were fighting previously, and Kaye is headed in its direction. Lena tracks down the location on the map that Kaye is headed to, and she tries to stop her, but it's too late. She got trapped in some water, and the Louve walks her down. And her last words are, I don't wanna die. Now the reason this one hit a little more is cause, I mean, we didn't get to see much of Cujo, and I know this is only the 3rd episode, but still, we saw Kaye's personality, and she's going just like that. But here's where stage 1 begins. The crash out stage. Leo screaming at Lena saying, I don't know why you're saying sorry when your people are the people that put us out here. And he closes the deal with, you didn't even ask us for our name. You say you don't look at us like 86, but you call us by our code names. And she's off the parade. But tell me how they're back playing happy music like nothing happened last night. When Theo was pressing Lena, they were playing that sound that plays in Breath of the Wild when the Guardians spot you and they start shooting them laser beams at you. Terrifying monsters, by the way. I was so happy when I got the ancient arrows or whatever and I could cook them, bro. I felt like the man. But how they got smiles on their face ear to ear like one of their comrades didn't just die? I know they're used to it at this point, but still. No grieving? No mourning? But then she talks to Annette and Annette's like, yo, this is a life. I mean, we're just eating pudding. This world is perfect. And it's like, shut up with all that, bro. This world is not perfect. Annette gets on her back talking about, why do you care about the 86 so much? There's nothing you can do about it. You need to give up. And she's telling her, you should quit your job and you should join my department because you're getting a little too attached, buddy. Like a deranged ex, you need to cut them ties. You need to let them go. But as she leaves the room, she gets a flashback about the day her dad died. And that's when she walks into her uncle. And this man's name is Jerome. His last name is Carlstall, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't know where 86 takes place. But why is his name Jerome? Anyway, he's basically saying your father was an idiot and you'll be an idiot too if you follow in his footsteps. He took you to that battlefield, sure, but what did he do? He preached all these ideals. What did he change? He was not MLK. He was just Milize. I don't even know dude's first name, but that low-key kind of rhyme, MLK Milize. But yeah, her dad is dead. But after she leaves, she starts hearing the voices of everybody in the Spearhead Squadron, and she's like, I'm getting back on that parade, and she's talking to Shin himself. He says, we don't tell the handlers our names because if they get too connected, they'll get sad when we pass away. But she's like, nah, I'm tired of running. I'm locking in. I'm running towards y'all. What are y'all's names? And then he starts off telling her the name of the person who died yesterday. Kaye. And after he tells her all the names for everybody in the Spearhead Squadron, he tells her, in my old unit we made a promise. Whoever's the last one standing has to carry on the others with them as far as they go. This man Shin has seen 561 of his comrades die. He's pushing unholy numbers. He's fighting against Thanos himself. He snapped, boom, those are his comrades gone. His IG bio can't even fit that many characters. He can't even commemorate all the comrades that he's lost. But then Shin connects Lena to the rest of the Spearhead Squadron so she can ask all of them for their names, even though Shin gave her all of their names. She just wants to get closer with them to lock in. Theo's words hit her right here in the chest. But that's when she talks to Shin. She's like, yo, you never told me your name, bro. I'm trying to get your Snapchat. I'm trying to get your Instagram. I'm trying to follow you. And that's when he says his name is Shine Nozin. And she's like, yo, do you know Shorei Nozin? He starts getting flashbacks, and we find out that that's his brother. We then see a flashback of a younger Lena. This is obviously her on the battlefield. Her dad and this random Alba soldier gets timed out because their military training sessions don't look like that dude you see running on TikTok with those weights, doing those push-ups, throwing the dumbbells back and forth, throwing the entire benching bar back and forth. These military soldiers' training regimen is just to eat and learn how to give good comms. The average person in a PlayStation party, but when the Legion robot is walking up to Lena, a Juggernaut pulls up out of nowhere, gets him off the map, and the guy who steps out is Shorei Nozen. But how is Lena, a tiny old kid sitting here, just watched her dad die in the guard with them, and she's not shedding any tears? I mean, she's a little teary-eyed, but no, her tears should be down to her ankles at this point. But Lena asks if he's still alive, and he says, yeah, nah, that dude is dead. But there is something I want to do in this army. I'm trying to find my brother. And Lena's talking to Annette about the Revolution Festival, and this is when we find out that Shin actually used to live in District 1, the same district that all of these Albas are basically running the city in. But Shin can't remember anything. He can't remember what his family looked like. He just knows he had a family. He knows the names. He knows he had a brother, but he doesn't remember how they look. He doesn't remember how District 1 looks. And that's when we hear that static yet again, and Shin's like, we got enemies on the way. We gotta go. She's like, yo, are you tapped in with the Legion? How did you know that? We didn't issue any sightings of the Legion. And during the battle, Shin is telling Lena, you gotta cut that para raid right now or you're gonna regret it. She's like, yo, are you dumb? I would not cut the para raid mid-battle. Static happens again, and she's hearing a whole lot of voices. We find out that that static isn't just static. The Legion is speaking to him. She starts going insane, starts shouting. Shin's like,
Yeah, I'm ending this call.
cuts it off in a heartbeat. And the last voice she hears when they cut it off is Kaye. So mid-battle on the 86's side, when they're cooking through each and every single one of them, they end up hearing Kaye's voice. Shin pinpoints Kaye's voice, and they gotta get her gone in a heartbeat because the Legion is low-key spamming her voice, just saying, I don't want to die, I don't want to die, I don't want to die, over and over and over. The Legion has upgraded past a point of just being mechs and upgraded to the level of rage bait, but they get the Legion spamming her voice out in a heartbeat. And that's when Raiden says, we don't gotta worry about that handler. That's when all the handlers go insane. They stop calling, they get a new job, or some do what they do. And as he finishes the sentence and walks away, Lena calls back asking about the black sheep that Shin was talking about. He tells them that the Legion has black sheep, and these black sheep are taking brains of the 86, or people just dying on the battlefield as a whole. He tells her that he can hear the voices because he had a near-death experience, or he actually died. Which one is it? But later on through their talk, Shin is telling them these robots aren't shutting down in 2 years. They're taking the damaged brain of the people dying on the battlefields to keep them running. So what happens if they get an untouched brain? You guys are losing this war because we're the last line at 86. There's no one coming after us, buddy, unless you start sending the Alba down. And do the Alba know how to fight? No. They're not like us. So yeah, basically you guys are cooked. But Lena comes up with the idea, let's just cook the entire Legion before you guys get wiped out. Isn't that a great idea? But later on, we see Shin and he takes his cold accessory off. And they flash to a clip of someone choking him and we see his neck. It's not looking too good. He got that damaged neck. He got that hurt neck. He got that you're insane, you're in pain, I can tell by what you're saying neck. Unfazed. I just peeped Dex is probably the dude to make copyright-free rap songs. And if you think about that on a deeper level, you know what I mean. And then we see a flashback of Shin this time, and he's looking at a Juggernaut in the snow, and the person sitting in his Juggernaut is his brother, headless like the Fortnite skin, headless like the Dullahan. Is there even a headless Fortnite skin, bro? I think I just made that up. Headless like the item in the Roblox catalog. But when they're all walking up to their next battle, they come to a familiar spot like Atsu and Ghost of Yote when she can jump between the past and present to see her family. Peak game, I just beat it, by the way, if you couldn't tell. And they go back 4 months into the past, remembering when all of them were still alive, having a cookout. Daya spitting game to Anju, but when they're back into real time, they step onto the battlefield. Obviously, there's explosions going left and right. This is to be expected, but the Legion sided with the Scorpion unit over, so they have artillery fire going at them, and the Legion already on their backs to deal with. The bombs are blasting them out of their hiding spots, and when they're on the front, the Legion Louves, the big tanks, are blowing them up on the spot. But Lekka tries to shoot at a tank she sees in the forest, but gets blown back and knocks a leg off of her Juggernaut, and she's stuck down low in a ravine. Except unlike Minecraft, finding a ravine in this is not a good thing. You may find all the diamonds you want. You may even find a trial chamber. Only thing waiting for this girl is the respawn menu. Was that funny? Too soon for a joke like that. And this man Daya eating the protein bar thinks that it gave him otherworldly powers. How are we gonna tell him? Daya runs in to try to stop the oncoming Legion so they can get Lekka out of that ravine, but he gets blown back. Marionette from FNAF 2 comes rolling up. He blows a few up cool, but they're doing front flips through the smoke like Suni Lee. They land on top of his Juggernaut, and the last thing he says is Anju, and he gets blown to smithereens. I felt the shockwave of the explosion through the screen, and the lone Legion losing member pulls up to Leka. She equips her gun, starts shooting at it, but it's doing nothing. Her bullets have no effect, like a fire Pokemon against a water Pokemon. But she goes out like a champ. She takes that gun to her chin and she pops the cap. But we just lost Leka and Daya. That's 2 names added to the Instagram bio. 2 pieces from Juggernauts that Shin now needs to carve out and put their names on, and 2 less people in their party. But later on after the battle, we see Shin tell Lena to turn off her para raid, because if she's never seen a dude get popped before, she's about to see it now. We see Daya's hand reaching out, and I don't know if he's Pell from One Piece, but there's no way he survived this previous explosion. But he tells him we can't let the Legion have him, so he pops him. We also see that when Shin popped Daya, he turns around like someone just tapped him on the shoulder. I know your friends used to do that to you in middle school. Tap your right shoulder, you turn right, but they're on your left. But the voice that called out to him was his brother. And we see a little bit of Shin's past again. We see him being choked by some crazed man in glasses. You would not think this is the same man that gave Lena those words of encouragement, those words to build her up, because he's really trying to slime out a kid right now. But Lena pulls up to talk to her uncle Jerome Carlstall, the craziest combination of a name I have ever heard, and says we need mortar fire to help them because they're just going to keep losing these battles. They're just going to keep losing members. But he says you just need to stop siding with them. They're drones. They're robots. They are not human. So stop looking at them like they are. And oh yeah, they got a new mission after losing 2 of their top shooters. I don't know if they were top shooters. I just wanted to say that. But they have to go to the base that the Legion is building. And they have to, you know, get them off the map. No time to mourn. No time to grieve. Back on the battlefield even though they lost some firepower. They got that. She has a late night Discord call with Shin. And he's like, yo, get some good sleep and eat some sweets. She's like, yo, you're just like your brother for real. And Shin asks if when his brother was talking to Lena about him, did he have a smile on his face? And this will be important. But after that, she spits some unnecessary riz and she says, I won't forget, just like you. I also forgot to include Ryan and Shin's conversation, and he said he needs his brother's forgiveness. This is why I was talking about the smile. And I also wanted to say, how is Lena blushing after having a phone call with this dude? This is like if you're on a call with Corp's husband, dude's in a different district, different city, different state, different whatever from you, and you're falling for the dude and he ends up having the biggest yam on his face you've seen in history, homegrown in Utah. When Lena was walking around the city though, she sees the Revolution Festival getting started, but that's when she starts remembering Karina saying, yo, this job is not cut out for you. We don't need a Tony Snell over the intercom telling us what to do. You flipping out about hearing all those dead voices, that was distracting. You need to lock in if you're gonna be our handler. And then she basically says the best way to go out is the way Daya went out, which like, dang, the dude died last episode and you're already using his death as an example. But when she's on the parade with Raiden, she's saying, oh, I got you, do not worry, there will be new recruitment soon. The Spearhead Squadron will be back on top of things and y'all will get to cooking like nothing has ever happened. But that's when she talks to General Carlstall and he's like, oh, reinforcements? Man, don't worry, the Spearhead Squadron was at the top of the list for reinforcements, so you can just go ahead and get ready for that festival. Stop worrying about them, man. They're gonna have extra firepower in the next hour. I haven't heard a bigger lie told. But Shin calls Lena while she's at the party and he's like, oh, you miss your usual call time, so I was just trying to check on you, honey bun. But he thanks her for the special ammunition, which was the fireworks we saw them with in the intro of the episode, so they could send off Daya, Leka, and honestly anybody else who's died. All 563 of them now, I believe it is, which is actually insane. It's probably low-key more because they off-screen some of the crew. I mean, some of them straight up just vanished. And she tells him one day we gonna watch all these fireworks together. But we see a shower scene with Anju and Karina, and I do not know how much of this I can show, but apparently something is on Anju's back she doesn't want people to see, but she doesn't care anymore. It's just 2 girls in the shower at this point. It's not a whole crew. They're besties at this point. They're a Fortnite duo. But they're talking about some, should we really tell Lena what's going on? I mean, she doesn't know yet. She's sending us presents. She's getting a little too close to us. We gotta tell her the truth. So eventually Shin tells her District 86 is a hanging gallows. They take all the 86 from the internment camps. They tell them, yo, in 5 years you'll be free. But if they actually start cooking up on that battlefield, they're like, oh no, you're going to the worst district of them all. You're going to Spearhead Squadron. Good luck, buddy. But then Lena says, why do you guys still fight if you already know you're going to get cooked one day? And me personally, if I'm in District 86, I'm taking my Juggernaut. I'm running to District 1. I don't know exactly how these barriers work because I'm making this video fresh off of watching Season 1. I've only seen the first episode of Season 2. But I'm taking that to San Mangolia and I'm cooking everybody inside of those Alba walls. But then Raiden gets on his little speech like that one dude on the baseball team that said this is all for the championship. And to clarify, I know it's championship because I know some of y'all be like stingy. Is that the right word about that? But he tells her, some 86 are scum. Kaie experienced that firsthand, but I was raised by an Alba myself, Shin too, so we know that some are good. It's just the people who's bad at the end of the day, really re-emphasizing what Kaie said when she was still walking this earth, R.I.P. Kaie. We could just let the Legion run through, walk us all down and walk up to you, but that would be giving up. Giving up is for losers. I don't want to give up, so that's why we fight, because we're not just going to give up and let the Legion win or let the Republic win, so we gonna keep fighting. But Shin tells Raiden that he found his brother and his brother found him, so they already know what their next mission is. Lena reads through all of the papers of the past Spearhead Squadron missions, seeing that they send them special recon orders just to send them to their deaths, and she hears the voices of all the Spearhead Squadron in her head. That's when she runs to Annette's house asking her for help, saying, yo, we gotta do something about this. I got a 3-month plan. Annette's like, shut that junk up. She throws her cookie on the ground. Crash out phase number 2, like Leo, but in the 1st district instead of being in the 86. She says there's nothing we can do. The people next door to us, they used to go to the same school as me. I was friends with their little brother, but ever since that rule happened, they're gone just like that. I got bullied for being friends with that man, so that's why when I saw him one day, I called him a filthy color. Yo, and I'm not gonna lie, when they said this, I actually started laughing. I'm gonna be so honest. I know it was supposed to be serious, but it was just like, dang, just like that? I mean, he's the same like skin complexion as you. He just has different colored hair. What's really going on here? And Annette takes her into the lab and tells her, we're not cooking up today. The family next door had a special ability that let them communicate without even speaking. My father had to study that. He created the machine y'all know as the Pararaid, but they had to test this on countless 86. But since they didn't count as humans, plenty of them died in the process. And Annette's dad pulled the plug on himself because he couldn't live with that. And she tells Lena, you're the same way. You're such a goody two shoes, sending the Spearhead Squadron to all these missions and letting them do good. Now they got an order that's gonna help them pull the plug. And she's like, yo, get on my crib. I never want to see you again. Lena pulls up to her uncle yet again saying, yo, you gotta cancel this special recon mission. They're all about to get killed. Her uncle says, yeah, that's exactly what we need. Every single 86 needs to be wiped out from history, so when people look back in the history books, it'll be like they never existed. Sam Mangolia doesn't have to look like the bad guys, and he tells Lena, now listen, this is the same country that killed their leader because she preached for freedom and equality, so I don't think this country will ever have freedom and equality, bro, Chacho. And oh yeah, get to that room, get on your handler grind, and make sure that the 86 is good. So Lena calls Shin and says, yo, you gotta run. He's like, run? Yo, I got some business I need to handle. Where would we even run to? Speaking of running, she's like, I know you're trying to kill your brother. You need to let it go. He may be a part of the Legion, but he's still your brother. Shin is like, I'm not hearing that. But let me tell you something. My brother became a shepherd. That means he's a commander of the Legion. And when we get rid of this shepherd, because that's gonna happen, you gotta go past the eastern border because the Legion's gonna go crazy. You're gonna be hearing their voice. You're gonna go insane. And oh yeah, don't contact us no more. We don't need you. But let's be honest, is she listening to that? She hasn't listened to Kaie. She hasn't listened to Karena. She's not gonna listen to Raiden. She's not gonna listen to Shin. She's not gonna listen to anybody that tells her to stop contacting them. So Haruto, by the way, this dude, he got off screen. The only person who had more than one voice line that didn't even get an on-screen death. I'm pretty sure Lekka said 3 sentences. She got an on-screen death, but no, we didn't see Haruto die, my fault. But we see the last few members of the Spearhead Squadron preparing for battle. Their mechanic got them spare parts and they're packing up their base so they can leave because they're not planning to return, and they march out into battle. But we see a flashback of Shin as a kid, and we see his older brother reading a piece of paper, and that paper is calling him to an internment camp. So he hops on Shin, starts choking him. He's like, yo, this is all your fault. This is your fault that mom and dad are dead. This is your fault that I gotta go to this internment camp. And how is it Shin's fault? What has Shin done? He hasn't personally gone to Sam Mangolia and gone to the officials and told them, hey, I think everybody that doesn't look like you guys should be in internment camps and fight on the front lines. But the Alba priest that was mentioned before that took care of Shin gets him off of him, and then we flash to his death, and then we see him, he's back in the Legion, and he's saying, Shin, we're gonna reunite soon. But as the Spearhead Squadron makes it to the battlefield, they hear a scream, and it's Shin's brother. Shin lets out a smile ear to ear as wide as the scar on his neck, moving like he's Shinra. He has no reason to be smiling like this. He's feeling like Kenpachi. He's too excited to run the fade against his brother. So Shin tells the remaining members of his squadron, y'all go through the forest and wait, and when it clears up, y'all can come out and fight. But me, I'm gonna go ahead. Let me cook my brother real quick. So the battle begins with the Legion letting off shots, and they're listening to Shin's brother since he's the shepherd. They're just trying to keep the rest of the squadron away from Shin so they can have their one-on-one. Shin ends up dodging the first shot from his brother and returns fire, destroying one of the Legion, but his bullet does nothing against his brother's tank. Shin's dodging the next round of fire from his brother and hits him with another no no damage attack. This fight's already looking like it's going downhill. Shin then jumps on a random Legion mech, not even focused on it. He could have blasted it, he could have done whatever, but he cuts it on his way into the air, barrel stuffing his brother for another no damage shot. Shin gets snuck by a random Legion mech, but cuts through it in a heartbeat. He then starts smiling, saying, yo, my brother wants to kill me with his own hands? That makes two of us. Freaked out in a fight, he's like Tokiyuki from the Elusive Samurai when he dodges. But while the rest of the squadron is firing at the Legion, they've blown through rounds on top of rounds, and they're like, oh, at least the forces are thinning out. And that's when a whole new group pulls up. But the skies open up and explosions fall down from above, destroying each and every single one of the Legion. Lena takes Ryan's eyes to see the battlefield to make sure that the mortars hit where she wanted them to, and Ryan's like, yo, you know you're gonna look like Stevie Wonder if you take my eyes like that. Why'd you do it? She tells him, shut up about the blindness. Shut up, I didn't get permission to clear these mortars. But you see how they're moving out here in the Republic? It doesn't matter how I move. They're not gonna send me to the battlefield to fight. But we see Shin running in with a smile to fight his brother. He's zipping through the forest on zip lines, moving like Levi with ODM gear. He throws himself in the sky and comes down with a slash on his brother's tank. Then he's like, oh yeah, it's right from here. Barbecue chicken. He shoots that rocket, but he catches it like Luffy when Luffy gets hit with bullets. Shin then tries to retreat, but he grabs him with his arms, moving like Pedal Goose. Did I say it right? Pedal Goose? Pedal Goose? The dude who said it on my ReZero video, but he throws him across the ground and Shin is out cold. But Lena tells Karena, yo, confirm that dude's position. We're gonna take him off the mat. She's like, trust me, Shin won't get hit by this attack. And while Shin's brother is walking over to him saying, first we gotta get rid of your physical body, his hands get blasted off. He sees the mortar flying down from the sky, and since he still has Shin's brother's brain in him, he's like, I'ma protect Shin. But that's when we see a flashback, and it's of young Lena. She's telling him, how are you trying to protect your brother by killing your brother? You already did it once. Why would you do it again? And when she slaps him, the mortar strikes. And after he finds out they were duds, Shin's signal comes back on. Everybody's screaming and shouting at Shin to wake up, and he's being choked by his brother's corpse. But that's when Lena says, what was it that you wanted to do? What was your goal? And Shin wakes up and he's going harder than ever. Pause. He runs in and he's blasting his brother's hands as they're trying to stop his bullets. And Shin pushes through and finally puts the barrel in his brother's tank. And all he has to say to him is, goodbye, brother. And he hits him with the meanest barrel stuff in the world, getting his brother off the mat. But as that happens, we cut to his brother in human form, and he's saying, I don't need to hold your hand anymore. You're ready to go ahead on your own. But Shin starts remembering his brother, the black bars being removed from his face like the X's in a silent voice. So he's sitting there in tears while his brother's mech is just burning. And we see that Lena basically went to Annette and said, yeah, your buddy Shin, the kid you used to play with all those years ago and you called a filthy color, that same Shin is the Reaper. So if you want to help him, you better open that laptop like it's a UAV in Call of Duty, and you better start dropping them drone strikes like you're on a kill streak. And they all chop it up, they have a good time. But that's when the Spearhead Squadron decides to run away. They're like, yeah, I'm not doing this no more, we're done with the fighting, bye bye. So they leave the range and Lena can't speak to them anymore. And I don't know where she was running, because she was not going to run all the way to the 86th district and catch up with them before they left the range that the Pararaid worked in. But now they're all moving like they're in Vinland. Life is looking peaceful. They still gotta hide from the Legion, but with Shin being able to hear them, hiding from them shouldn't be too hard. But Shin hears a Legion robot calling out to him, and even though it's not on their side for real, he reaches his gun inside of it, gets that cool shot, and he puts it out of its misery. But the saddest thing happens in this episode. We see a flashback of all of Fido's recordings. We see all of the Spearhead Squadron taking their photos. Shin's not taking nothing from this Alba, so he picks up a screw and throws it past him into the wall. Who needs a drill when you have Shine nosing? But they're on Total Drama Island in the confessional booth just talking. They're counting down the days till they escape. We're seeing Kujo, we're seeing everybody alive. And they did it like this on purpose. They show us a clip of Haruto, then they show us Haruto just being dead. We don't even know what happened. They show us Kaie talking about her favorite flowers, then we just see the piece of her juggernaut in Shin's hand. They show us Daya and Anju dancing, having a great time, mind you. Then all we hear is a gunshot and Anju sliding down the wall crying. 86 really knows how to hit you right here. We barely got to know these characters. We've seen a little bit of their personalities, but their deaths just hit us like that. But that's when we see Fido on fire. And Fido blows up. They end up battling with the Legion, and Fido takes a bullet for Shin so his Juggernaut doesn't get destroyed, and that's how Fido gets flatlined. Shin's Juggernaut is the only running Juggernaut left. They're running out of gas, they're running out of ammo, and they gotta alternate shifts between who gets to drive Shin's Juggernaut. They make a quick stop at school though to make the anime look like it's peaches and cream from here on out. But that's when Anju is piloting the Juggernaut, and Shin's like, yo, hop out, let me pilot. And he detaches the carrier that they're riding in. He blows up the mountain so they can't get to him, and he's like, the legions on their way, I'ma solo them. And as he's fighting the legion, he ends up running into a shepherd. And you can assume from what happens here on out, Shin gets cooked. But the rest of the squadron pulls up with their guns, and guess what happens to them too? They're on the ground laid out flat. I don't know what they thought would happen, but it definitely didn't go their way. But we see Lena in the 86th district, and she's talking to the mechanic. The mechanic ended up being an Alba. His wife and his kid were not Alba. So guess what they did? They got shipped here and they died. So he explains how he used to ask Shin if he heard their voices, but he didn't hear them. So he's just staying on this island waiting for the worst to come. But Lena walks around their old house, and this just made me so like emotional. I was like, dang, I wish she got to see them in their old house. You know what I mean? But they all left her a letter. They said, yo, if you're ever seeing this, continue moving forward. And oh yeah, take the cat. You can name him. Lena says, I'll keep moving on just for you guys. And the season ends with us seeing Shin as a kid again and Shin's older brother. He takes his hand and they walk away. 86 season 1 was gas from episode 1 to episode 11. If y'all want to see a season 2 or part 2, I got you on that. I still gotta watch it, so I hope there's no spoilers in the comments. Low-key, I'm gonna try to finish watching it as I'm editing, so I don't have to see any spoilers. But next, if y'all want Don Machi that bad, y'all will get it. Mashal after Don Machi. I might even throw in the Elusive Samurai, or I'll do Mugen Train. The only reason I haven't done the Demon Slayer movie is because I'm scared of that copyright. But I'm gonna stop my yapping. Like, subscribe, hype the video, join the Discord down below, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.